Hello, good afternoon. You're watching Market Fatafat on ET now with me, Vinny Motiwala, along with me, Cheryl D'Souza as well. Cheryl, a very good afternoon to you as well. And markets today have picked up that pace that they were not seeing all through the week this time.
Absolutely. If you look at the markets, good going coming in for the Indian markets. We are in fact bucking all overall market weakness when it comes to the global markets. Indian markets right now are holding on to good gains above 0.6%. You have the Nifty Bank, which is moving in tandem with the benchmark indices, and you have the small cap and the mid cap index that's outperforming the benchmark indices as we speak. In fact, even Nifty Bank right now is outperforming the benchmark indices with the advanced decline ratio very much still tilted in the favor of the gainers. Talking about the list of gainers, then quite a few. You have NHPC, Bajaj Finance, Tata Consumers among the top 3 Nifty gainers, while on the flip side, you have BPCL, LTI Mindtree as well as HCL Tech that are declining in trade today. And the Realty Index, that's the one that's shining pretty bright in trade today because Realty Index saw an uptick of as much as 5% on an intraday basis, with strong gains coming in from most of the realty pack. We'll talk more of that on the show, but there are a lot of stocks to discuss about individually, which are moving on news flow as well as technicals, Vinny.
Absolutely. Then let's get started with all the stocks that are buzzing in trade on the back of news flows and technicals. And on the technicals, we're joined by Ashish Kyal, while from the research team, we do have Ankita joining in with us. A very good afternoon to both of y'all as well. And let me start with the first stock that we're going to talk about today, and that is Torrent Power. This one actually touched an all-time high level today as well, trading with gains of more than 8% at one point of time. Main reason why Torrent Power is in focus now, the company has actually entered into agreement and MOU of around 47,350 crores with the Department of Energy and Petrochemicals, and the government of Gujarat on the 3rd of January. That's yesterday. This happened last evening. Now, the establishment of around 3,450 megawatt of solar power projects and 1,045 megawatt of hybrid power projects associated with infrastructure of 7,000 megawatt of solar projects is what the company will be focusing on. Green hydrogen, green ammonia, production facility and capex for distribution network as well is what they'll be focusing on. And that is why the stock as of now also is holding on to 8.7% gains. So yes, off the day's highest point, but still near those high levels. So keeping an eye on this one.
Alright, that's Torrent Power powering ahead in trade today. Let's talk about Shaco Reality. Remember, that particular counter is seeing a strong outperformance in today's trading session. Shoba at one point in time was trading higher by about 9.2%, hitting a record high of 832.7 rupees per share. Motilal Oswal has come up with a note where they're saying Shoba is set to outperform the listed rivals in the pre-sales growth after trailing them for the last 2 years. They've raised the target price that they have for Shoba to about 1,400 rupees per share, which is a sharp uptick where you're seeing the stock price currently. The stock is their top investment idea in the year 2024. What Motilal is also saying is that with the more launches lined up in FY 24-26, they see sales jumping to about 10,000 crore rupees by FY 26 versus about 5,200 odd crore rupees in the year FY 23. They're saying that the launches to also help improve the cash flows for the company. So on back of this, if you can see the stock is seeing a strong volume, is among the top gainer on the Nifty Realty Index and also hit a record high level in today's trading session.
Let's move on and talk about another stock that has been buzzing away in trade today. Not only today, but the last 6 months, it's managed to double. Ashish, MMTC, what is the view now on the charts? Are you still further expecting an upside?
Yes, if you look at MMTC, we can see the stock after a long time is breaking about that consolidation zone. And the high which is made today is around 64.4070 levels, and it is trading near the higher point of the day. So the overall tone is bullish. I think the stock has started the third leg on the upside, might be headed towards 75 levels, and on the downside 60 is the support level. So long positions can be created here.
Alright, moving on then, Ankita, a lot of counters coming out with the Q3 operational performance, and one of them is IndusInd Bank, isn't it?
That's correct. So this stock is in focus today on the back of the business updates and also a couple of brokerage notes that came out, in favor of this particular counter. First up, let's quickly go across and take a look at the Q3 business updates, where it saw a 3% quarter-on-quarter increase and a 13% year-on-year growth in deposits, reaching a substantial 3.69 lakh crore rupees. Now, the bank's advances surged by 4% over the last quarter and 20% over a year ago period, now totaling to 3.27 lakh crore rupees. Now, the CASA ratio, however, standing at 38.5%, is a slight bit lower than the 42%, in a period a year ago. Now, a couple of brokerage notes that came out. First up is Morgan Stanley, that is maintaining overweight on IndusInd Bank with a target price of 1,850 rupees per share. They feel that the sequential loan growth has moderated, but on a year-on-year basis, the loan growth remains very strong. They see the retail deposits growth improved and the CASA deposit growth was muted as expected during Q3. Nomura also came out with a note on IndusInd Bank. They are maintaining a buy with a target price of 1,700 rupees, and they feel that the loan growth has been healthy and the retail deposit growth has been stable. They also expect margins to remain stable and asset quality will remain benign. Jefferies also came out with a note, and they are maintaining a buy yet again, and with a target price of 2,070 rupees per share. They feel that the loan growth has been healthy, using surplus liquidity and refinancing lines. The CASA growth was rather slow on expected lines as the switch to term deposits still continues, and they see healthy growth and stable NIMs that is likely to aid the earnings for this particular stock, and that's the reason why we are seeing IndusInd Bank up and away 3% in trade today.
Okay, that is IndusInd Bank, but we have Bajaj Finance that came out with their Q3 update as well. And when you look at the update, strong performance across matrices is what we are seeing now. Healthy loan growth is what the company reported. New loans booked at 26% growth on a year-on-year basis. Strong AUM growth of 35%. YOY coming in at 3.11 lakh crores. Now, likely to surpass the FY24 guidance, seems like that, and obviously strong customer acquisition is also what the company has seen. We have a brokerage note that came in from Bajaj Finance on the Q3 numbers as well. They're maintaining their overweight rating. Target price of 10,000 rupees is what they've given for the stock. They're saying the strong AUM growth, customer acquisition is something that is positive for the company, and they think that the AUM growth, what we're looking at, could grow at around 33 to 34% in FY24 versus the guidance which they've given of 29 to 31%. So obviously an upward in terms of what they're expecting in terms of the growth that they're expecting in AUM as well, and positive at the margin considering the various factors that have been an overhang on the stock. So now, yes, they feel that that is all going to go behind, and they're expecting a strong performance. Even Nomura is maintaining a buy and given a 9,500 rupees target price as well.
All right, so that's the take coming in, what the brokerages have to say about Bajaj Finance post its operational performance. But Ashish, what do you have to say about Bajaj Finance when it comes to the charts?
See, if you look at Bajaj Finance, the overall stock has formed a rounding bottom kind of a pattern. It is just giving a breakout above that 7,700 mark. Also, it's just around that, moving around that zone. And once it breaks above 7,700, I think the stock is headed towards 8,000 level on the upside. Overall undertone remains bullish. Volumes have been huge. There was a gap up opening. It is sustaining there. So I'm going to be bullish on the stock for 8,000 target. And on the downside, one can maintain a stop loss of around 7,500 levels.
Let's shift focus then. Let's talk about ONGC, which has hit an over 8-year high in today's trading session. If you look at the stock price, at one point in time, it was trading higher. Rather, it's at the day's highest point. It is taking the stock to the highest level since June 2015. ONGC has won 7 of 10 areas for exploration in the 8th round of bidding under the government's open acreage licensing policy, or also known as OALP. Apart from that, you have Reliance and BPCL consortium also, as well as Oil India and Sun Petro also bagging 1 each. But the fact that they've won 7 areas out of 10 under the 8th bidding round, that is ONGC for you at an 8-year high.
Let's move on and talk about Motilal Oswal then. And Ashish, on the charts, what's the view for Motilal Oswal? Last 6 months from those 700 levels, it's managed to reach 1,295 as of now. From here on, are you expecting an upside?
Yes, indeed, because Motilal Oswal, if you look at past 1 to 2 weeks, it consolidated, formed a multiple times support level at 1200, formed lows there and bounced back. And now it is about to give a breakout about the previous pivot high. So that is indicating the trend is resuming on the upside, possibly towards the level of 1400. That's the pattern target. And one can maintain a stop loss for this stock, which is somewhere around 1250 levels.
All right, so that's the take coming on Motilal. Ankita, moving focus and shifting focus now to auto ank space. Uno Minda, why is this one in focus?
That's correct. Uno Minda is in focus today. It's on the back of the fact that NCLT New Delhi and the NCLT Jaipur has sanctioned the scheme of amalgamation of Minda TG Rubber Private Limited with Toyota Gosai Minda Private Limited. And on the back of that news flow, we are seeing the stock up almost 3% in trade today. And this is, they had earlier updated about the merger as well, in 2021. February 4, 2021, but this is the latest news that's coming up for this particular counter. And on the back of this news flow and the final merger, the stock is up 3% in trade.
Okay, surely keeping an eye out on that news flow. But let's move on and talk about Tata Power then. And Ashish, Tata Power, what are you expecting in terms of charts over here? Last 5 days, managed to see around a 3-4% return. Last 1 month, 20% return. From here on, how much more upside could one expect?
See, the overall power space has done well, and Tata Power, after a brief consolidation, is again getting ready to surge on the upside. We can clearly see in today's session, and 320 is a very important support. We can expect the stock to reach towards the level of 365 on the upside, as long as around 320 is intact. So the risk reward looks promising. One can create long positions here for 360 is the target.
Surely keeping an eye out on that. But let's move on, talk about GM Breweries. Earnings season is here, and we have GM Breweries which reported their Q3 numbers. When you look at the numbers, nothing exciting that came in because revenue was almost flat. It's just actually a 2% decline in terms of the revenue for the company. Revenues came in at 157 crores. We also have the profits of the company that saw a decline on a year-on-year basis, 22.6 crores, down 15%. While also the operating performance, nothing great there because the margin saw a sharp contraction of around 530 basis point, 16.2% versus 21.5% as the EBITDA margin last year. So yes, clear pressure seems like that has come in terms of the numbers of the company, and that is why once the numbers were announced today, we saw a sharp fall coming in. As of now, the stock is down almost 4%.
All right, moving on, then let's talk about Prakash Pipes, and that particular counter is in focus in today's trading session. If you see, the stock actually saw an uptick of as much as 4.5% on an intraday basis. What news we are picking up from wires is the fact that Mukul Agarwal has bought a stake in the company in the December quarter, and data from the National Stock Exchange shows Agarwal as a public shareholder in Prakash Pipes with about 6 lakh shares, which is equivalent to 2.51% stake, and that's the reason why this one is in focus today.
Let's move on, talk about HDFC, AMC and the technical levels over there. Ashish, is it time actually that one should start booking out profits at 3,320, 45% uptick in the last 6 months? Should one book profits?
If you look at HDFC AMC, there are no signs of reversal yet. There is no slowdown in momentum. We can see that the stock is still managing to touch that 52-week high. So there is, I would continue to ride the trend. Maybe partial profits can be booked, but the overall undertone remain bullish. I think the stock can be headed towards the level of 3,600 also on the upside eventually over the next few weeks or months. And on the downside, one can maintain a stop loss of 3,200 levels.
All right, moving on, Ankita, let's talk about NHPC and why is this one in focus today?
Well, yes, NHPC is in focus today because on the back of signing a deal. Now they have signed an MOU with GPCL, which is Gujarat Power Corporation Limited, for a proposed investment of 4,000 crore rupees in Kappa Pump Storage Project, which is a 750 megawatt project in Chota Udaipur, Gujarat, with a proposed year for commencement for investment as 2024-2025, and this is a part of and comes prior to the vibrant Gujarat festival that's likely to take place. And on the back of this a new MOU that they have signed, the stock is up and away 1% in trade.
Okay, let's move on and talk about AU Small Finance Bank. Ashish, when you look at it, this has not done anything exciting in the last 6 months. Now, do you expect a good up move coming in for the stock? Last 6 months, we've seen only a 1.5% return. So now what's the view?
Look at AU Small Finance Bank. It has formed a very classic rounding bottom kind of a pattern. And from this rounding bottom, I think the stock is going to give a breakout. The neckline is just there at around 790 levels, and it is trading that. And we can see a very sharp recovery from the lows of 1050 in today's session. Overall undertone is bullish. I think the stock is headed much higher from here, possibly towards 850 levels on the upside, a good target level on the upside. And on the downside, one can maintain a stop loss of around 760 levels.
Keep an eye out on those levels over there for EU Small Finance. But let's move on, talk about IEX. That came out with its Q3 FY24 updates in terms of that. When you look at it, yes, the stock has seen a good up move. It was up as much as 2% at one point of time intraday. Now, mainly this is because they've registered a good growth in terms of the total volumes that were registered by the company, and that saw a growth of around 15% on a year-on-year basis, coming in at 9,770 million units. Other than that, notably the electricity volumes also rose by 8.7% on a year-on-year basis, and overall, they've seen a very good trajectory coming in terms of the performance of the company. We've seen that when you look at it in terms of the power average clearing price for the month also was at rupees 4.68 per unit. And yes, other than that, yes, the trades also saw an increase by 115% on a year-on-year basis. So overall, it was a good update that came in from IEX, keeping the stock in focus today.
All right, it's not just IEX which came up with this Q3 operational performance. You also have Puna Wov which did the same, and on back of that, you saw the stock actually see an uptick of as much as 3%, but now it has spared some of the gains. Company has said that their total loan disbursements for the quarter ended December 31st was higher by about 159% on a year-on-year basis, while their AUM grew by about 57%. If you look at the stock, it's trading above its 200 DMA as well, and they've also said that they will further go ahead and better their gross NPA as well as net NPA levels. So on back of that also, you've seen the stock actually see a good uptick, right now trading higher by about 1.8%.
Let's move on to stock number 17 for today, and Ashish, GNFC on the charts. Where do you see it headed? Last 5 days surely seems like sudden up move has again come back for the stock.
Yes, indeed. If you look at GNFC, the overall momentum is just picking up. The stock has, after forming a low around 700, is already at 800 levels in just few trading sessions, and there is no stopping here. So any dips over here that you can get around 800 levels, use that as a buying opportunity, and one can expect a target of around 840 on the upside, and maintain a stop loss of around 770 levels.
All right, moving on. Ankita, let's talk about CCL Products and why is this in focus?
Well, yes, CCL Products is in focus today because the Board of Directors have approved to issue a letter of undertaking to HDFC Bank in connection with the credit facility of around 320 crore rupees availed by its wholly owned subsidiary MSCCL Food and Beverage Private Limited. And this is towards setting up of a greenfield project for manufacturing of spray-dried instant coffee with installed capacity of 16,000 MTS per annum at Kuvakoli village, which is in Tirupati in Andhra Pradesh. And on the back of this news flow, CCL Products is up almost 1.5% in trade today.
Okay, let's move on. And actually, I think, Cheryl, you've picked out OMCs for us as well today. And main reason why these OMCs are in focus is because of this downgrade that is coming from CCL.
Absolutely, Vinny. While everybody is talking about the crude oil prices and what exactly is happening, how it will benefit the OMCs. Remember, yesterday you also had the oil minister say that the government has not actually asked the OMC as of now to take a call on the fuel prices. But CLSA has come out and they've actually downgraded all of them. That is IOC, BPCL as well as HPCL. And this also following what Kotak Securities and PL Prabhudas Leeladhar also have done. They've actually downgraded all of these counters. So on back of a downgrade coming in from CLSA, you can see the stock actually, all three of them actually declining in trade. What CLSA is saying, rise in global crude oil prices amid heightening geopolitical tensions in the Middle East as well as supply concerns may weigh on the sector. Therefore, they've gone ahead and downgraded all three of them, and right now they are sulking in trade, all of them down in excess of 1% as we speak.
Let's move on and talk about AB Capital. Ashish, when you're looking at AB Capital, has done nothing in the last 6 months. YTD 1 year performance also marginal returns of around 14% in the last 1 year. But specifically 6 months has been a bit of a downtrend. What is the view now on AB Capital?
See, if you look at the overall stock, I think it has retraced nearly around 38.2% of the prior rise and bounced back from there after forming a low around 155. And it is also breaking about the channel or the trendline resistance. So I think AB Capital, there is a low risk, high reward kind of a trade setup. A little risky, but still one can create long positions. Aiming for because if this is a genuine breakout, we can head towards 190 levels, and on the downside one can maintain a stop loss of around 165.
Okay, let's move on and talk about Angel One. This one is in focus on the back of its Q3 update as well. And when you're looking at the numbers that have come in from Angel One, the number of orders are up by 28% on a month-on-month basis. Gross client acquisitions is up by 54% also. And average daily turnover is up by 22%. This is comparing on a month-on-month basis. Overall, the equity market share is at around 27.1% for Angel One, up by 38 basis points versus last month as well. So today we saw the stock price actually jump up as quite high in trade. As of now, he has given up those morning gains, managed to touch an all-time high level for the company as well, but he is still holding on to gains of 2.6%.
All right, moving on. Ashish, let's talk about Titan and how is this one actually looking on the charts. Do you think all that was sparkle will be Titan this year?
Yes, if you look at the overall chart, it is bullish, of course, and we can see it touching near 52-week high. There is some consolidation over past 3 to 4 days, but the undertone for Titan is going to be positive. I think the stock is headed towards the level of 3,820 on the upside, and one can maintain the support levels at 3,640 levels.
All right, let's talk about another Tata Group company then, and that is Tata Motors. In today's trading session, a strong up move coming in for Tata Motors, and this after JP Morgan has gone ahead and upgraded the stock to an overweight rating from a neutral rating earlier, and they've cited strong performance in JLR and the company's effort to reduce debt. However, the price the target that they have set right now is 920 rupees from earlier 680 rupees per share. What they're saying is that deleveraging of the company's balance sheet should reduce EPS volatility and lead to the potential re-rating for the stock. They've also raised the EPS forecast for FY 25-26 to by about 20 to 30% due to resilient market share in domestic market and JLR's better than expected performance. So that is Tata Motors for you, actually surging in trade 1.9% as we speak.
Okay, that is Tata Motors. But, let's just move on, and just an alert coming in for our viewers as well. And scheduled on 7th and 8th of January, the Tamil Nadu Global Investor Meet of 2024 will see the entry of several international industry giants into India through Tamil Nadu. The state has made concentrated efforts to attract global capability centers and research and development centers, enhancing its position as a hub for innovation and technology advancement. Here's a special report.
Bastion of research, development and education, Tamil Nadu is now emerging as a global epicenter for innovation and technology under the leadership of Chief Minister M.K. Stalin. A preferred destination for global capability centers and cutting-edge research and development centers. Country's second largest economy, Tamil Nadu, is developing the world's leading minds and attracting investments to tap into the rich talent pool. This has been possible because the state is already a powerhouse in the knowledge economy, boasting technology parks and research institutions and innovation hubs.
The industry and the government and the institution are all in touch. And the industry gives them feedback about the direction the industry is growing, the direction in which the job market is going, and accordingly all our young talents are nurtured. They're given extra talent, they're skilled according to the requirement of the industry.
Embracing world-class education, Tamil Nadu boasts premier education institutions. Spearheading Tamil Nadu's knowledge transformation is the Nan Mudalvan scheme.
Every talent is groomed right from the start, and they're also tailored to the requirement of the industry.
With a wide range of skills from artificial intelligence to robotics, Tamil Nadu continues to prepare its workforce for the industries of tomorrow.
On that note, we are totally out of time on this edition of Market Fatafat. Thank you so much, Ashish, Ankita, for joining us on the show. It's a goodbye from Vinny, myself, and the team that put the show together. But nevertheless, our viewers, ET Now and ET Now Swadesh, in line with helping Indians rise with India, have partnered with Sundaram Mutual to launch Nivesh Day. This is a groundbreaking campaign to help viewers build their personal finance portfolios through regular as well as disciplined investing. Nivesh Day will be celebrated on the 5th of every month. So join ET Now, ET Now Swadesh as well as Sundar Mutual to learn how you can build your financial future with an SIP in mutual funds.
The stock is not